Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. Today's card is beautiful in all its simplicity. The surprise is the pop-up which keeps the card upright. In this video you will learn how you can make it. I have tips and tricks for you, so come and join me. I'll give you a closer look at the card. This is the side view, the top view, and this is folded, and of course you can easily unfold it and it will stay upright when you put it there, you see. And it's quite easy to make, really. It consists of a couple of parts. I'll show you. There's of course the front piece that you stamp on, there's the pop-up mechanism, and there's the card base itself, and I'll show you. And the stamp set that I've used is Peace to You, which I think is absolutely gorgeous, and I've also made one with the Holy Family. I'm going to make that one today, but I've put the dimensions for this card as a bonus card on my blog. It's the same principle, you make it in exactly the same way, it's just that the dimensions are different. But as I said, the bonus measurements and of course all the other measurements are on my blog. Okay, so Peace to You stamp set. I've used Starry Sky ink and Starry Sky cardstock because I think that's such a beautifully blue colour. Can't beat it. Oh, and a bit of copper foil for the star with adhesive sheet on the back so that your little star becomes a sticker. And an extra I put on the bottom so here you can write your Christmas wish. Well, having solved that confusion, I'll go and start with the card. And I'm going to show you how I use my Stamparatus for this. I do advise you use your Stamparatus or another stamping tool because of the stamp is a solid stamp and it's hard to get the right depth of ink in the first go. So you have to stamp it at least twice, at least that's my experience. Now, I have my Stamparatus here with the magnets, and this is what I used for my other card. And you see I've left my stamp on the plate so that I can make more cards with this, but I'm putting this away now because I'm going to show you how I set up my Stamparatus for the other card. First of all, I'm going to need, that's why I've got tape on them, so that when they do adhere themselves together they don't break. They might. I do use the mat, the extra mat, and I use a piece of grid paper which I cut down to size. Here's an example, and I always have plenty of these pieces. This is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4 inches because whenever I've been designing something I usually have this bit left, so I just cut that corner out and then I throw away the rest, and then I always have plenty of those pieces of grid paper. So I put a piece of grid paper in, then I'm going to put a plate on top. I'm going to put my stamp in a position where I can stamp really comfortably, which is probably something there, and I'm trying to get it on as straight as I can right away. And it's easy to check if you have those grid lines, and if it is on straight I'm putting it up a bit higher because I want the sentiment there as well. This should be straight. Pick up the stamp and then I stamp just once onto my piece of grid paper. And I do secure it with a magnet so that it doesn't move. You stamp. Now I know where my stamp is going to end up and I can check on my grid paper that it is more or less straight. Okay, then I want the sentiment as well. And I had Silent Night, Holy Night. I'm going to put it on straight as well, nearly up to the stamp and just slightly to the right. See, it's too high. You have to take into account your stamp So I'm putting it a bit lower now. And again, straighten slightly to the right. See if this fits under. Yes. Okay. And again, I'm checking if it is straight. I'm stamping the sentiment now as well. It's just that extra bit of work, but it makes the stamping easy. And that is lovely and straight. Do you see? Okay, now then, I'm going to remove this paper. And I have here a piece of basic white, which is the size that I'm going to stamp on. And I've made this a template. It only works with basic white because I want to hold it up against some strong light to see if I'm going to stamp straight on that piece of paper. So I'm checking where my image is, and then I can put my piece of paper on. And again, I'm using my grid lines, and then I'm holding it against a strong light. There's a strong light on my desk here to see, and it has to go a bit to the left. To see if I have, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm holding it up against the light, and then the blue will peek through the basic white. If you use coloured cardstock, it won't work. Then I'm putting it on straight, and I'm using a pencil to draw the position of my template. See, that looks okay. And then I can put the magnets back in. And now I'm looking for my piece of basic white. Not my template, but the one that I cut, which should be on my desk somewhere. Hang on. Found it. So I'm putting that within the parameters of the square that I've drawn. And I'm securing it with magnets and checking that my magnets are not in the way of my stamped image. That should work. And now I've discovered that to get a good inking, it does help. Hang on, I'll move it over to the left a bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm cleaning my stamp, just this once. As I was explaining, it does seem to help if you use some Versamark as well. So every now and then, when I'm stamping a lot of these, I just ink up my stamp with Versamark to start with, and make sure, checking in the light, that there's Versamark everywhere. And then I use the Starry Sky ink. And then I can stamp, and you will notice I'll wait until my clock is finished. Now this already is quite a good inking, but if you're not happy with it, you just ink it again. But as I said, the Versamark does help. So again, I'm pressing now, and you have a beautifully inked image. Do you see? That's all there's to it. And then you can continue making these, multiples of them if you want to. And they're a success every time. I'm going to be making more of these cards. So I'm going to leave this on my Stamparatus, especially this one and that one as well, because even if I take this out, let me be clear on this, as long as I leave my stamp on the plate, I can always slide this back in, secure it, and continue stamping with either this one or the one with the Holy Family. It doesn't really matter. Right, let me just close my ink pad to prevent accidents from happening. Then I'm going to show you how you can make the card, and I have here Starry Sky. This is for the card, and this is the pop-up mechanism, and I have just made this little image, and I'm going to put a star on, and the star is from, that's the wrong colour, I had stars in copper foil with adhesive sheet on the back, and these little stars are from the Yes, the decorated pine dies. There you have these little stars. And I do recommend that you put your star on before you stick the card together. It's much easier now. So I'll just remove the paper backing and I put my star onto that snowflake, and then this is ready for assembly later on. Okay, so the Starry Sky card base, and I'm going to score this at 2 inches, long side top, and then for the piece which is the pop-up mechanism, at one end I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, then at the other end at, well, if you like you can say 4 inches, but I'm just using a 1/2 inch there as well, and then I'm moving to the 1 inch mark there. You could also have 4 inch and 3.5 inches, whichever you like. Alright, that's the mechanism, and I can fold and use the bone folder to make sure these score lines are flat, and there and there. And I'm going to make it easy on myself to get this thing more or less in the middle. You don't have to do that, but I like to be precise when I'm working. And this card base is 4 1/4, so at 2 1/8 of an inch I'm putting a mark there. I know you can't see on film, but I can see it, and that's most important. And then on what's going to be the inside, I'm going to measure what is the halfway mark as well. And this is 2 inches, but I just used a scrap piece of paper, so this is slightly under 2 inches. This is probably 1 7/8, something like that. Yeah, which works as well. And I've put a little mark there as well on what's going to be the inside of the card base. So when I'm putting this together, I put these 2 little marks next to each other, and that helps me get this right in the middle. You need some tear and tape for the pop-up mechanism, and you put the tear and tape at the very end of the paper. So this is the bottom part there. Here along the top you put the tear and tape there at the outer end, not that one, because this is the one that you're going to see from above. That's what moves the pop-up mechanism. So just 2 pieces of tear and tape. Now I'm going to put my card together. You remove the tear and tape, and I'm putting these 2 little marks next to each other, and I've put that end just next to the score line. Do you see? Now I can fold it back, and I'm going to use my grid paper to adhere this and to get it on straight. Make sure you have it like this, otherwise it'll be upside down, which might be a look, but I don't think you want that look. And I'm putting this onto my grid paper, so you see the bottom part there, so that when you flip the card, this is how it opens. I'm making sure this is straight, and then I'm putting this in the middle, and I'm using my grid paper, 1/4 inch mark at either end, because I want this to be on straight. Your mechanism may end up just a bit crooked, doesn't really matter because it'll be behind your card, but this has to be on absolutely straight. So I'm using my grid lines there, and I'm butting it up against the bottom part there, you see, of the mechanism. And then I'm using some glue, whichever you prefer. You can put a piece of tear and tape on, you can use liquid glue, whichever. I just prefer my Seal Plus because it's quick and it's very strong. Now I'm holding it here at the bottom, both cards, and then I'm flipping that one over, and you see this is now on absolutely straight. Even if the mechanism is a bit crooked, doesn't matter. Okay, so folding it flat again, folding that piece inwards, and again I can remove the backing, and I'm flipping the left part over the right, press, and there you have the card. And it could have made things easier for me if I had put my little sentiment space on before, but I can still do it. Again, I'm using my Seal Plus, just some tiny bits in the corner and a tiny bit in the middle, and then sticking it on, and the card is finished. So don't forget about the bonus measurements of that card as well. That's it for today. Have you seen how easy it is to make this beautiful pop-up card? I've been making quite a lot of it, and that's because so many people have placed orders for it. They seem to like it as much as I do. Well, thank you very much for watching. Dankjewel voor het kijken and see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens!